Alright, so this is going to be the first of my video logs that I'm going to be putting up on YouTube. I'm probably going to be making a new one. Anytime I have something important happening in my training, anytime maybe, I hit a new PR, or, I go to a contest, or I, make a big decision in terms of how I'm training, whatever it is. Um, so, I'm going to apologize in advance for the misleading title of this video because I know ahead of time what I'm going to name it, and it's going to be something along the lines of why I'm never going to squat again or something like that. And that is basically the main topic that I'm going to be talking about today. Essentially, this year, I started off Christmas, I hit a 515 deadlift. January, I hit a 525 deadlift. These are both at 198 pounds, about 200 pounds. And in February, I went to my first powerlifting competition. I bombed out because I didn't get a good bench press. But I stepped up to the plate and I got a 535 deadlift to round things out. So I got that little victory. That was the new PR that I set on the day of competition. So I had a 535 deadlift February of this year. That was about 6 months ago. My current deadlift is around 445. And that means that I've lost about 100 pounds off my deadlift in 6 months. Almost exactly 6 months, 5.5. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Basically, in terms of my lifts, my squat has always been shit. Basically, when I train, my bench has always gone up, my deadlift has always gone up. My squat has sort of been stuck in a certain place for a very long time. And basically, I've been trying to hit the 400-pound, double body weight squat for a very long time, and it hasn't been working. And so essentially, after that meet, I said, okay, well, it's time to switch things up. It's time to try something new. Before that meet, my basic program was a high-volume program in which I focused on the squat, the deadlift, and the bench press. I was using sort of a squat every day, sort of Bulgarian-style method, but it wasn't really that intense. I was just sort of, I was training 5 days a week or so, squatting or deadlifting every day. But, I wasn't doing a ton of work. Anyway, so after that competition, I hit that 535, and I said, okay, well, now it's time to try something to really up my squat, because I really wanted to work on my squat. And so I tried the small wall squat routine, which doesn't recommend any deadlifting at all. You're not supposed to deadlift at all. And, the people who run the program say, oh, yeah, or not the people who run the program, but the people who, popularize it on the internet, whatever, say that, you'll expect to see, great gains in your squat and, minimal, maybe, your deadlift will kind of stay the same, and, you should do some bench press work as well to, get your bench press going. So I did small out for 2 months, and my squat did not change. It literally stayed at the exact same place. Meanwhile, my deadlift went down about 30 pounds, 20 or 30 pounds, I can't remember exactly, and my bench stayed the same. And so I said, okay, well, this was a little bit before my internship at Westside, so I said, okay, and I did small out for a little while longer, leading up to going into Westside. But, again, I didn't see any improvements. So then I went to Westside, and the problem with Westside is that, Westside's a great program. I'm not knocking it. It's not the program for me. It doesn't work for me. It never, it's just not the right style for me. Just sort of my body reacts best to that high-volume training, and that was, why I was using it at first, why it was working out so well for me. But Westside, in comparison, is a very low-volume program, and I think it works really great with heavier powerlifters, and it works better with geared powerlifters, and I'm being a lighter, raw powerlifter. I think I'm not necessarily the perfect, target for that. And I do believe in a lot of Westside's methods. I still use speed. I use speed days a lot more than I used to. I do a lot more band work. I do a lot more accessory work. But in terms of the exact programming that Westside uses 4 days a week, low volume, that's not for me. So I've been doing, since that, I've been doing a lot more volume. And essentially coming back from Westside, I tested my maxes again. My squat had in fact gone down by 20 pounds, so my squat was 365 was my best. My bench stayed about the same. It actually, I think, gone up by 10 pounds or something like that. And my deadlift had gone down by another whopping 50 pounds or so. And that was because also, Westside, yeah, they do sort of a mix of squatting and deadlifting. But since they're doing 2 days a week for bench, and then 1 day a week for squat and 1 day a week for deadlifting, or, however you really mix things up. But you get, since you're doing an upper body day and a lower body day, your lower body day is split between the squat and the deadlift, whereas the upper body day is almost primarily focused on your bench. So, much lower volume, much lower volume than what I was used to, and my deadlift went way down. Now, I like deadlifting. Deadlifting is my favorite lift. It's, again, the one that I've seen the most results in. I like bench pressing. Bench pressing I've always seen decent results in. My bench press is now currently somewhere around where my squat is. And that might seem ridiculous, but it's true. And that's, again, after months, I would say about 4 or 5 months of very heavy squat-based, just focusing more on my squat than anything else, my bench press is still around where my squat is. So I've decided that I really don't like squatting. I don't like it. I just don't see gains. I don't see gains in strength off of it from training it very heavy. And, I don't want to do it. So what I've decided now is that I'm going to be specializing more as a push-pull power lifter, which means that I'm just going to be doing the bench press and the deadlift. And that's kind of interesting because I'm still getting a full upper-lower body workout, but it's just, it's very different in terms of how I focus things. And since I am adopting, again, a Bulgarian-style, high-intensity, high-volume program, what that means is that I'm essentially deadlifting and bench pressing every day. I'm deadlifting 4 or 5 days a week. I'm bench pressing afterwards. I'm doing some accessory work. If I need a lighter day, if I'm really sore, I'll do some cleans, some overhead pressing instead of bench pressing, because that uses a little bit less weight. And yeah, so the idea now is that I really want to be good at I really want to be good at something. That's kind of why I train, is because I want to be the best. And so if I can't be the best at the squat, and from what I've seen from over about a year of training has convinced me that my squat really isn't going anywhere. Unless I'm severely missing something when it comes to my training my squat, which I don't think I am. I just don't think my body is built for squatting. I don't think that that's what I'm good at. So I'm just going to be I'm going to focus on the deadlift, and I'm going to use the bench press obviously to sort of balance things out, to do some upper body so that I'm not just deadlifting all the time. And that's really, I think, where my niche is. I think that that's where I can really actually shine, is by just focusing on fewer things that I'm actually good at, rather than sort of trying to be the all-around balanced powerlifter that I really think I'm not. That's just sort of an idea of my training right now. I've also been losing weight the past few months. I have been on a cutting program, and that of course has probably contributed, of course, to the loss that I've seen in my deadlift and my squat numbers. But the important thing to understand is that my bench press has stayed the same, and of course, despite the fact that I've been cutting, my deadlift has shot way up in the past couple weeks since I've started doing a high volume program again. So, yes, I think that my weight has played into it, but I don't think that it's a huge factor. I don't think it's been as huge as my training program in terms of my results. So, I am trying to cut down to about 180. After that, I think I'll be probably bulking back up to 200 or so. The cutting was sort of more of a, it's kind of based on my financial situation right now. I don't really have the money to eat as big as I used to. And further, it's just, it's a good idea, I think, every now and then to sort of try something new, just to sort of see how it, really affects you. And I think that cutting down to 180, cutting down to a lower weight class, will sort of give me an idea of what it's like to compete at a lower weight, and B, again, I can always just kind of put the weight back on if I want to later. And in the meantime, I've probably cut out a lot of fat and a lot of excess weight that I didn't really need. So currently, again, my training program is I'm currently running a caloric deficit on about 185, 187.5 pounds or so right now. So I'll be shooting to get down to 180. And in the meantime, I'm just doing essentially deadlifting, bench pressing every day. Again, on lighter days, I might do cleans for power. I might do speed benches. I might do overhead presses. I might do speed deadlifts. I might try out some deadlift variations that you can't do a lot of weight on. Whatever. I'm just sort of keeping it varied right now and focusing on getting that high volume in. And it's really helping, of course, that I don't really have like a main job right now, that I'm not working a ton of hours, because that gives me plenty of time to train, even multiple times a day, which I've been doing sometimes. I've been doing bench pressing twice a day to a max, or deadlifting and then coming back and doing a lot more hip workout stuff later, or doing a lot of cardio. I've definitely been able to do a lot more cardio than I have before, and I'm doing a lot more accessory work than I have before, so I think that that's greatly helping as well. So that was my first video log. As always, rate, comment, like, subscribe. Tell me what you think.